So Johnny Somali is threatening Korean women with infection with STDs, specifically with HIV and AIDS. This is something that people might think of as a joke. This is not a joke. And in fact, when in history, and I'm going to get into this, we'll show you some case law. Oh, there's case law about this, but there are cases that where people have been prosecuted, specifically in the United States. In fact, repeatedly, people have been prosecuted for threatened potential threats to infect others with diseases. And that is something that is not okay. In fact, there was a parole for a doctor. I believe it might have been a doctor who injected his mistress with HIV and hepatitis. She contracted those. He went to jail. She actually, I believe, eventually died of HIV/AIDS. So he went to jail. He was denied parole. So let's watch this thing. This is video of Ramsey Cletus Smile on April 22nd talking about this. Let's just play the tape.
Korea does not let me out of Korea. I'm telling you right now, it is a danger to the Korean women. I have had so much sex with Korean women while I've been locked here.
First of all, let me say this real quick. I do not believe this at all. Number one, he doesn't have any money, although he does admit to using prostitution, and I do believe he did engage in prostitution in Southeast Asia and other places. But in Korea, he definitely doesn't have any money. Number one, and number two, no, ain't nobody interested in Ramsey Cletus Smile. So I'm calling a lie on that one. But let's continue to hear his threat, because once again, he is threatening Korea if they don't let him go.
I don't wear any condom when I f these Korean women. I don't get any STD tests when I f these Korean women. I don't get any STD tests when I f these Korean women. And I make sure to spread whatever I have to all of these Korean women. And the police can't stop me. The government can't stop me. These Korean ladies is fiending for black. Every single week they keep me in Korea. I'm going to keep coming in Korean women. I'm a handsome, sexy. I'm nice. I'm good looking. I haven't had since September. Okay, do you guys want to know what happened when I went to the red light district with Hank? I'll tell you all the story. The other day we went to the red light district, and the reason I didn't stream it is because every single hooker we met in the red light district was like, no black, no black, no black. I was getting mad, chat. These Korean ladies is fiending for black. No black, no black, no black.
So obviously, and that's a cut by Johnny Somali over there on X. He's talking about that stuff, and then he's talking about injecting people intentionally with HIV and AIDS, and he specifically actually makes a threat against me. Right. So let's listen to this one. I posted this one on my X so people can look at this one here. This is a very specific threat against me, of all people here. So let's listen up to this one.
Legal mindset. I don't need to fight that. I'll walk past and inject the with some HIV blood with a needle. Legal mindset.
See, that's a very specific threat against a very specific person. That's actually against me. So that is what you would call, and that's a threat, and that's what you call a pinprick attack, which is, you can Google it. There's actually Wikipedia pages about it. There's stuff like that about it. That is very much criminal to threaten, to talk about. And in many countries, there's actually specific statutes that relate to that legally, right? That specifically relate to that. So that actually gives me some interesting law to talk about. And so the rest of the PowerPoint here. So in countries like the United States and Western Europe, there are laws. Now, in many in many places, there was a specific statute, the specific law that says that threatening people with AIDS or passing AIDS is illegal. Now, back in the day, these laws were controversial because many people thought that they would be used against people that lived other alternative lifestyles, like, for example, homosexuals. So in the past, they thought that these laws would be used widely to essentially ban homosexuality, which largely, by and large, with isolated cases and individual, exceptions aside, by and large, generally that did not happen. But those laws are still on the books, laws that criminalize specifically the intentional transmission of HIV and AIDS. But beyond that, you can actually use existing laws. So laws like intimidation. So saying, I'm going to do this because you cover me, or I'm going to do this if you don't release me. That is intimidation. That's also an attempted crime. It can be assault. And if you actually do it, it can be attempted murder or murder. So if you killed somebody, they died of AIDS, that would actually be murder. And in Korea, there are some specific crimes. I want to give a quick shout out to Dr. Ulrich and also to the other folks that helped me out in Korea on this, because they helped me out with these specific articles. I think Dr. Ulrich gave me a lot of these, so big shout out to him. But I confirmed these and asked around and looked them all up, so they all check out. But in Korea, if you actually went over and threatened people with HIV, you could be guilty of any of these things: injury, attempted injury, serious injury, special threat, attempted crime, murder. Also, Korea has a special statute, a special law called the Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome, that's AIDS, Prevention Act, Article 19, Prohibition on Conduct risking transmission. What does that carry? I know you all want to know, and that is 10 years in jail. So 10 years under that statute for any conduct that would involve that. So that would be stacking on top of his already full stack of issues, 10 years in potential years in prison. That's a maximum penalty there, right? So a lot of solid time there as well. And once again, this is all stuff Johnny tried to delete because Johnny knew when he played that is a direct threat. That is a direct threat, not just the Korean people. He threatened me specifically, but this is very, very insane, right? And once again, he still has a criminal case pending.